Well, we're nearly at the end of the first full trading week of 2015. This is your daily business fix, ENCA Moneyline, your money guide. My name is Sikim Gabadeli. Here's what's coming up in the next half hour. Business confidence falls in December and the outlook is bleak for the immediate future. Having seen oil drop below $50 a barrel, what will the 2015 commodity market look like? We'll bring you an update. And following a year of labour unrest, we look forward to 2015 and what to expect in our labour relations framework. All that up next, but first, your top stories. The South African Reserve Bank increased its holdings of gold and foreign exchange in December. Reserves for last month rose to $49.1 billion. The $562 million increase was partly due to the rise in the market price of gold. It was, however, slightly offset by the appreciation of the dollar. Reserves are measured in dollars, with the value of foreign currency held rising to $41.7 billion. Economists believe reserves are likely to drop due to a firmer US dollar and weaker rand. Interest rates are also expected to be left unchanged at the next monetary policy meeting later this month. Electricity consumption for November fell by almost 1 percentage point compared to the same period in 2013. Electricity usage also fell close to 1 percentage point compared to October. Stats SA reveals that electricity production also dropped by 2 percentage points in November. It's not clear whether the drop in consumption is due to consumers cutting back or Eskom's rolling blackouts. The power utility continues to appeal to consumers to cut back on electricity use. It's warning of more rolling blackouts just as the country gets back to normal after the festive season. Samsung Electronics is facing its first decline in annual profit since 2011. The global smartphone company has confirmed it's expecting a downturn in earnings. It saw a drop in market share last year with stiff competition from rivals such as Apple and Xiaomi, which caters to the lower end of the market. Samsung is expecting a fall of more than 35% in the fourth quarter of 2014, but it's not all doom and gloom as the company is set to gain $4.7 billion in earnings. This is $200 million more than forecast at the start of the year. The company is expected to release its annual results at the end of January. Business confidence is at its lowest level in 5 months. That's according to the latest Chamber of Commerce and Industry Index. The BCI shed 2.5 index points last month to 88.3, and it's still sitting 3.6 points below the December reading for 2013. The average BCI for 2014 stood at 90 points compared to 91.4 in 2013. The recent weakness in the exchange rate has had a negative impact on the index, with the fall in the oil price also influencing the country's economic outlook. SACCI is concerned that the country's electricity shortages will cause the economy to stagnate. Let's unpack that and the outlook for business confidence in 2015 with Richard Downing, economist at SACCI. Richard, thanks for your time this evening. Concerning that decline, we're very far off the levels that we saw in December of 2006.
Yeah, very far off. I mean, it's about 30 points, 30 index points. So it just shows you how far we went back on business confidence, and it won't be easy to actually recoup that situation, you know, and get back on track again, because we're experiencing very structural problems at the moment. Luckily, the oil price went down and everybody's feeling happy, but unfortunately, that happiness won't last very long. As you know, as you've mentioned, you know, electricity shortages and the problems with Medupi, and that only coming online apparently now in June or something. So that is a problem. I mean, it's creating bottlenecks in the economy. It's structurally suppressing the economy, and we mentioned, you know, stagnation is perhaps the name of the game if we don't take cognizance of what's happening.
As businesses are making decisions about investing and where to invest in growing their own businesses and therefore also growing the economy, what are the things that are holding them back besides electricity?
Well, I think, you know, uncertainty on policy, and you know, public finance is not in a good state. We know the degrading of South Africa's bonds and that type of stuff in the capital markets, and the looming budget coming up, that will be a critical point. It'll have to indicate there's a change in direction. In terms of the economy, in terms of how thinking goes in the economy, in terms of how policies formulated, in terms of coordination of policy, everything is on the table actually. And there's got to be clear indication, not halfway talk and noted and that type of language. It must be a clear indication where we're going.
And how does business feel about the current exchange rate after round?
Well, it's a problem. I mean, all these things we're mentioning is actually affecting your capital flows into the country and out of the country. And you've mentioned now the exchange rate, but also the share prices went down in December. That's one of the other factors. Other thing is then the rand, and of course, that type of thing is created through the economy and uncertainty in the economy and business confidence, especially from foreigners moving out of our capital markets, perhaps, taking other sort of cues. And of course, the quality easing that has now stopped to a certain extent is hammering actually emerging markets. You've got to be amongst the best to attract capital, and we're not there.
Absolutely. We're being hit by both domestic issues and, of course, the international situation.
Exactly.
Retail sales, how did that particular sub-index perform in December?
That's negative. It's month-on-month negative. It's month on last year negative, and that is a cause for concern. We're seeing that, credit to the private sector is actually increasing, so we hope people don't take that avenue again because that lands you into trouble. It's not sustainable. And so we might see December figure ticking up a bit on retail sales and that type of thing. And according to, the people at the holiday resorts, there was a lot of people there and enjoying themselves. But let's hope the enjoyment doesn't go into a sort of cemetery type of mood.
And of course, we're going to be getting results out of a lot of the retail companies in the next couple of weeks, just to let us know what people were spending during the festive season.
There's a lot of speculation in terms of shares also that it's overvalued and that type of thing in terms of retail. So we'll have to see, perhaps I think the consumer is still in trouble. The indebtedness is still high. It seems like there's some leeway now coming into the system because it's after 4 or 5 years. You've paid down your car, can leverage again your salary, that type of thing. But I think that is also, there's not a lot of scope there to go that route. We must actually fundamentally, structurally, in the real economics, get things right. Get employment right, get people to earn a good salary, and from there on, actually get demand going that is sustainable.
We've got the MPC meeting towards the end of the month, and of course, with the year starting off with oil prices at these levels, the inflation outlook looks a little bit better, promising.
It looks better, but the pipeline of how that fuel prices is going into your other goods like food and that type of stuff takes a while, and there's a lag always in terms of this. And we must remember they are also confronted with lots of other costs, like for instance labor costs that's way above inflation that is confronting these type of people. And therefore, you won't expect only the fuel price to affect things. Like for instance, your garage owner, only 50% about is affected by the fuel price. The other is all ordinary costs, taxes and imposts and all that type of thing on the fuel price. And
wages and salaries as well. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you for your time today. Richard Downing is economist at SACCI. After the break, we head into the commodities market and look at how low the oil price could really go. You're watching ENCA Moneyline, your money guide. Do stay with us.